RogueRant.com or the Uncensored Report or the VintageScoop.com. We have hats, shirts, coffee mugs. They say educate, inspire, and change. Or for my Scoop fans, it'll say the Vintage Scoop, Sarasota Scoop, etc. Help me with this operation so I can continue to get a fresh perspective on the news out to the masses. Thanks a lot and have a great day. Just go to my website. Hey everybody, this is Frankie and I'm here today to introduce Longevity. It's a great nutritional supplement to anybody that's eating right or not eating right. I take supplements on a regular basis and Longevity cannot be beat, especially at some of the great price points. So go to the RogueRant.com or the meds. Yes, get your pet essentials, your medicines, your collars, everything you need online. And guess what? You'll be supporting the operations of this great station, the Uncensored Report. So go to my website, click on the icon for 1-800-PET-MEDS, and help us continue the information war that's going on out there.
Disease on record, killing more than 2,000 people since December. Now, the Ebola epidemic that has swept across West Africa threatens to spread further. U.S. President Barack Obama has urged for action.
We have to make this a national security priority. If we don't make that effort now, and this spreads not just through Africa, but other parts of the world, there's the prospect then that the virus mutates, it becomes more easily transmittable, and then it could be a serious danger to the United States.
The U.S. military will be stepping up aid in Liberia, home to nearly half of the 3,500 people infected across the continent. Here, thousands are at risk of infection in the coming weeks, according to the World Health Organization. 5 new treatment centers are currently being built, each with a capacity for 100 beds. Meanwhile, there are also fears of a potential food crisis, with the United Nations warning the Ebola emergency could leave millions at risk of hunger. Bushmeat, a dietary staple, has become a deadly risk due to contamination of animals.
For now, no more buyer. So our meat just spoiled, we throw them off.
There's also the issue of travel restrictions curbing food supplies.
The countryside should be fine, as that's where all the food is harvested. The difficulty will be getting it to market in the urban areas. And as more and more restrictions go into place about folks congregating, that's why the urban areas may be severely hit.
On Monday, members at an emergency meeting of the African Union agreed to lift flight bans to and from affected countries, as well as open borders to provide humanitarian assistance. But as health workers struggle to contain the rapidly spreading disease, time is of the essence.
Okay, there you have it. Ebola. We're going to be touching on that. That's going to be our first conversation for today. Now, I'm having to do this a little bit different. I've noticed over the last few days that my internet connection has been horrible. So the live show's been real choppy, and it's been to the point where I wouldn't even watch it, so I suspect you wouldn't watch it. So until I can figure it out, what I'm going to do is just pre-record the message each day a little bit earlier. Going to try to get it out at 9. I might have to change that time to 10 o'clock so that I can get it out in a timely manner, upload it, get everything processed, get it out to the masses. Still trying to affect change, and it's unfortunate, but I want to make sure that the program is of a better quality than what I've seen over the last few days. With that being said, this is the Francesco Abbruzzino Show. This is Frankie, as my friends and family call me. We're discussing international, national news. You will see some advertisement coming up, and that's because after 5 years of basically doing this for free, I decided to try to make some money off of it. So I got some revenue sharing programs that you'll see me running. It is a one-man show. I do everything from the technical, the website, the hosting, the research, everything. So it is truly a one-man show. Now, let's go ahead and get started with the first conversation of the day, which is Ebola. And there's thousands of Ebola. As you guys know, if you watch my show, I've been following it. And I've said this before. I've been following it from the beginning. You heard some major media around the 100 death point. You heard a lot more rambling around the 1,000. But now we've reached over 2,000, and you're not hearing too much more about it, except for communications like what Obama just put out. But we should hear more about it, folks. It's spreading, and they're concerned, the CDC is, and the WHO, that it's spreading at an exponentially accelerated rate. And the United Nations agency said that conventional methods to control this outbreak of the virus are not having adequate impact or effect in Liberia. And the fatality rate is now up to 58%, so it's getting a little bit higher. I think that's the highest point it's been at. They said some of the sources of hotspots would be taxis, where people are all touching each other. Another concern is just the quarantine facilities itself. We've talked where a mob came in, ransacked it. I think 30, I can't remember the number, but 30 contaminated individuals went out to this major city of millions in what's the capital there? Mabolia. So it is a concern, and they don't have quite the controls they need to be ensure they can effectively contain this virus. And once patients are rejected from treatment centers, they have no other choice but to return to their homes, and inevitably they're going to infect and spread it to others. So it's making it that much more difficult for the country of Liberia, the WHO, the CDC, to try and combat this virus and the spread of it. Another new concern that I wasn't even thinking about, and I don't know why, is the animals. That animals likely could be infected and spread this deadly virus. And so that's another concern they're facing. So I wanted to make sure we continue to report on it. Not sure why major media is not on top of it, but it continues to be a concern. Now, next, I'm going to go into this. We're going to watch a video first on Brett Baer, and he interviewed 3 of the Benghazi individuals, and there's a lot of conflict. You have the State Department saying there was no stand down and basically not communicating too much information. You got these 5 individuals, 3 that are putting their names out there, that have said, hey, wait, we were told to stand down. We were on the ground there. It's an interesting interview. It's about 5 minutes long, so we're going to go ahead and play that right now, and let me just transition.
Tonight, a dramatic new turn in what the Obama administration and its allies would like to dismiss as an old story. The September 11th, 2012 attacks in Benghazi, Libya, which killed U.S. Ambassador Christopher Stevens and 3 other Americans. Speaking out publicly for the first time are 3 of the men who were on the ground and in the fight that night in Benghazi. They were security operators at the secret CIA annex in Benghazi, in effect the first responders to any attack. This is ahead of their new book, 13 Hours, the inside account of what really happened in Benghazi, a book that's out next week. They speak exclusively and at length to Fox News about what they saw and how they specifically responded that night. I asked them about one of the most controversial questions arising from Benghazi. Was help delayed?
5 minutes, we're ready. Thumbs up, we're ready to go.
Then what happened?
I said, hey, we're ready to go. Bob looks right through me and looks at the team leader and goes, you guys need to wait.
Bob was the CIA's base chief in Benghazi.
He's on the phone talking to somebody. I assumed they were trying to coordinate us to link up with 17 February.
Which is the local militia.
It had probably been 15 minutes, I think, and I got out of the car, and Bob and the team lead were standing on the front porch. And I just said, hey, we need to get over there. We're losing the initiative, And Bob just looked straight at me and said, stand down, you need to wait.
We're starting to get calls from the State Department, guys, saying, hey, we're taking fire. We need you guys here. We need help.
After being repeatedly told to wait, the security team says they defied orders and headed to the besieged consulate on their own. They asked repeatedly for armed air support, which never came. Looking back, the team believes that if they hadn't been delayed for nearly half an hour, things might have turned out differently. If I gave you that 30 minutes back, would Ambassador Stevens and Sean Smith be alive today?
Yes, they would still be alive. My gut is yes.
You in on that?
I'd strongly believe if we'd have left immediately, they'd still be alive today.
And I asked about that infamous YouTube video, which was blamed for the violence in Benghazi. And there was no whisper that this video was a major problem in Benghazi or something?
Didn't know about video until I got to Germany. No idea about any video, no.
In a statement to Fox News, a senior intelligence official insists that, quote, there were no orders to anybody to stand down in providing support. He used the word stand down. A number of people now including the House Intelligence Committee. They insist no one was hindered from responding to the situation at the compound. The committee's wording was, quote, there was no stand-down order given to American personnel attempting to offer assistance that evening. So what do you say to that?
No, it happened.
It happened on the ground. All I can talk about is what happened on the ground that night.
To you?
To us. To myself twice, and to Tig once. It happened that night. That happened. We were told to wait, stand down. We were delayed 3 times.
In a
Okay, all right, there we go. So what say you? Was there given an order to stand down? I tell you what, these 3 guys seem pretty credible. And like I said, there's a total of 5. 2 did not want to come forward because they're scared, they're concerned. But they're saying, we were told to stand down. The Obama administration, the CIA, and even congressional committees are saying that there was no order. The State Department, no order to stand down. But these 5 men, they were there. They helped ward off the terrorists from attacks. They helped save 25 American lives, or they said as many 25 American lives would have been saved. They feel they could have saved that ambassador if they were not told to stand down. I think it was like a 30-minute timeline where they finally said, forget it, we're moving in. They're attributing it to this CIA section leader, Bob. But the political class in Washington have written off that there was no stand down order. They've said this is absolutely not true. Even though there were at least 3 distinct times the security operator detail in this book that they were told to stand down 3 times. But yet they're saying no. State Department's saying no. When asked if he thinks Bob came up with the stand down order on his own or if someone else perhaps communicated it to him, he said that he wasn't sure. He honestly didn't know. So pretty credible people. He's not blaming anybody. He's saying, well, Bob, but he's not sure where it came from. He's not playing politics. So what say you? Are these guys credible? Was there an order to stand down? Could they have saved our fellow countrymen? Think about it, folks. I got to believe these guys. I got to believe that the State Department, the White House, congressional committees are not giving us the full story. But we'll be right back.
Is your money manager giving you safety and security? Wouldn't you like to make your money work harder for you? Then you should consider joining philsgang.com, where thousands of individual investors have successfully profited.
This year I'm up 60% on my portfolio. Following your system has been fantastic. I've been with you for about a month and a half now, and I'm already up 7%.
I've been in the business for a long time, and you're really one of the best I've ever heard.
Well, I just want to let you know what a great teacher you are.
For over a decade, philsgang.com's Phil Grandy and Donald Cogswell have been teaching, coaching, and investing right along with all Phil's Gang members.
I want to thank Donnie for market rep. I bought 2,500 shares of AUI and sold it this morning at $820 profit.
Why not join thousands of satisfied Phil's Gang customers today? Go to philsgang.com, philsgang.com, or call 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264. Call today.
Okay, folks, I'm back. And just remember that Phil Grandy, he's my sponsor. He's the sponsor of my Saturday local news show where I cover the local events within Sarasota County. But and that's on the radio on 9:30 a.m. and I put it on my website. But I wanted to remind everybody, September 13th, he does have this webinar coming up where he's going to show you the fundamentals of working the charts to make money in the market. He's nationally syndicated. He's known for knowing how to work these charts to his advantage and playing the market. It's free, $75 value, and there's only 100 seats left, and you have up to 2 weeks to watch it and go back and review it. So by all means, go to the philsgang.com/scoop. Get in there and get one of those 100 free seats before they're gone, folks, because you don't want to miss that opportunity. Now, we're going over to ISIS. And we're going to start with President Obama. He was on Meet the Press the other day. And he had a series of blunders that he was talking about with them, including the whole ISIS situation. Basically, from the golfing after the beheading of the American journalist to no strategy to handle this terrorist group, and how he's fallen flat on his face in terms of the ISIS threat. On the show, he was calling a blatant lie. Basically, he said, I never called them the JV squad, which he did. He blamed the media for putting the pictures of him out there playing golf, and he's like, he came across as like, it sort of sucks. I can't go out and golf and enjoy vacation without getting this type of attack. So he's gone from blaming Bush to blaming the conservatives to blaming the press now. I think yesterday he even blamed the kids for the whole immigration thing, saying, hey, it would have gone unnoticed if it weren't for those kids. Come on, folks. And then on that immigration thing, I just posted a question. We got this new respiratory virus heading around. And coincidentally, it started impacting us after this influx of immigrant kids. Is there a correlation? But yet, back to Obama. Instead of admitting to anything or making a mistake, he's out there. He's blaming everybody else. He's saying he has a strategy. It's just that it's being misconstrued. And he's saying that he never called JV, but Political Fact came in and said, no, they confirmed that was accurate, that he was referring to ISIS when he made that statement. But it was just a laughable joke out there. And it's interesting. I read something on that guy, the journalist who was interviewing him, whose name was, he's new to Meet the Press. Let's see, what's this guy's name? I don't see it on there. I forget. There it is, Chuck Todd. And he came on, he said, and it's something I just posted on my Educate site. He came on and said, look, Washington, politics, major media, we've lost contact with the American people. My objective with Meet the Press is to try and bring us back up to reality, back to what is really happening, back to the American people, which I thought was very interesting. So, now, we got Obama out there with no real strategy. But one of his potential strategies, besides bombing, will be to basically continue funneling money over to the more moderate Syrian rebels. But there really is no moderate. The moderate of the most is the Free Syrian Army. But the Free Syrian Army is sitting there, and they're admitting that they came out an article yesterday by Michael Thalin admitting that their organization is still out there working with the so-called rebels, the ISIS's, the Al-Qaeda's, the Al-Nusra Front. They're still working. They're doing joint operations. So aren't you, in essence, when you're funneling this money to this moderate group, aren't you, in essence, funneling it to ISIS? And the same moderate group saying, look, we can't even keep our guys. They're all leaving us and going over to ISIS. So, or Al-Nusra, which is just as bad as ISIS. They're trying to play like they're not, but they are. This rebel group is there, and their main objective is the Syrian land. These are like the true rebels. Now, they know they won't get that. They know they won't get too far without some kind of allegiance, some type of connection, some kind of unity with ISIS and Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra. So they get that, and they're taking the funding. But for Obama to sit there and say that we're not directly funding them is preposterous. I mean, they're openly admitting the Syrian freedom fighters, the Syrian Free Army is admitting that they are working hand in hand with these guys. And you have people like last April, Jamal Marouf. He's the leader of the SRF. He told reporters that his group works with Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra all the time. According to Jordan officials, Syrian rebels have been trained since 2012 by the British and French in Jordan. They've trained ISIS. So the support of terrorist groups by the U.S. and its allies, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Turkey, has led many in our military to begin opposing this practice, and they should. But Obama and a lot of these politicians think they have covered because they're going to sit there and say, oh no, we're not out there helping those rebels. Not at all, folks. Think about it. And we need to stop playing. These guys are playing word games, and they're messing with many lives out there. So, what is this unannounced strategy? What is the unannounced ISIS strategy? And does it involve some countries like Iran? Or maybe we don't even have a strategy yet. I don't think we do. You know, right now, I think I read something today where Obama's saying, okay, the strategy is we're going to go in there and try to talk all these countries, these 9 countries that are working with us, into sending their men and women into the harm's way, and we'll just support. Do you think they're going to buy in on that? Do you think? There is no clear military approach to taking shape here, folks, in Syria, in Iraq. The military intervention has shown some early success with the U.S. air power campaign against ISIS and halting their advances, but that's about it. And so while the ISIS strategy is stalled, the air war in Iraq has been expanding steadily, which we suspected. And the administration articulated a limited set of goals and stressed that they wouldn't be drawn any further into the Iraq civil war. And he's trying to keep that commitment. He's trying to keep that commitment to not send troops by asking other countries to do it. The administration has given Congress 4 distinct reasons for waging war in Iraq. Protect American in their bill, to save Yazidi minorities, which we've done, protect Mosul Dam, which we've done, and to break ISIS siege on the Shia town of Armeli. And for each objective, there's a slightly different set of American allies being supported by U.S. air power. All right. And one of them is Iran. They got, 2,000 soldiers over there? So we're working hand in hand with Iran. Which makes, basically, war brings strange bedfellows, right? And the question is whether short-term partnerships will undermine our longer-term interests in regards to PKK, in regards to Iran. So think about it, folks. And should we be concerned? In one breath, we're condemning Iran and saying we got to lift sanctions against them and their nuclear capabilities, and the other ones we're working with them hand in hand. We're ignoring what they're doing. So the president has been criticized for lack of a larger strategy, rightfully so. He's stressing military action, but we don't really have the game plan. And I personally don't like to see my brother in arms, since I am a vet, put out there in harm's way over something like this. Events in Iraq, including the ISIS thing, is testing the president, testing the American willpower. And unfortunately, the way it's being sold, a lot of people don't understand how we've trained, how we financed ISIS, how they're basically we put them out there to try to overthrow Assad. Now they're running around uncontrolled. And a lot of people are jumping. I think it's 71% of Americans polled said, yeah, we need to go in there and start bombing these people. Because they don't have all the facts. They only have some of the lies, some of the propaganda that Obama's putting out there. And then you got Turkey saying, hey, we're all in. We're going to help you. We're going to help you. We just don't want you to tell anyone. But then you got to think if they're actually fueling this whole ISIS war machine. There was this Daily Beast article that came out where they're allowing just tons and tons of oil from ISIS in Iraq to come across the borders. They're buying it up because their people want the cheap oil. They're turning a blind eye to ISIS as they're coming in and moving all this oil in there. Cheap ISIS diesel is causing them to basically have this double standard where they're saying, we're here, we're going to support you, we're going to fight this ISIS, but then they're taking in their oil. They have an open border. And you got to understand, Turkey's concerned about ISIS, but they want ISIS to overthrow Assad. So they have this open border where ISIS is just flowing back and forth to Syria in this fight. They want that cheap oil, so they're taking in that cheap oil. It's all good there, they're thinking. Yet they're out there on the other side playing lip service. And then you got to think of who's going to benefit from this, folks. This war against ISIS, this jumping into this whole Iraq quagmire, is a business opportunity for the mercenaries and the contractor industry. They're the ones that are going to make money. Stars and Stripes. It's a newspaper ran by the Pentagon. They posted an article calling for contractors to fight ISIS and provide services in Iraq. They posted a notice last month seeking contractors willing to work up to 12-month contracts to reduce the tensions there. So they're out there making money. And whose military-grade equipment's going there? The military-industrial complex, folks. They're all making hands in hands, fist over fist of money. They're the biggest defense companies are taking on a broader role there. They ran into some rough times where they had to lay off a lot of employees. They had about a 14% drop out of the 5 largest U.S. defense contractors between 2008 and 2013. We were getting out of Iraq, getting out of Afghanistan. It was dropping. The war in ISIS is, now that it's gearing up, it's undoubtedly going to restore lost revenue and lost jobs in the military-industrial complex. So what do you think about that? Is that the reason we're going into Iraq? Is that the reason we're bombing more there? Is that the strategy behind looking into going to Syria? And with Syria, folks, a lot of people have to remember, Obama's been sponsoring all these rebels to overthrow Assad. So Assad's biggest concern is, hey, if you're coming to come in here, how do we know you're not going to be bombing, saying you're bombing ISIS? In reality, you're bombing us so that ISIS can get a stronger foothold in this country. So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that not everybody's fully aware of, which impacts our national agenda, Obama's agenda, and what he's trying to achieve over there. So let's go ahead and we'll cut to another commercial. We'll be right back. Click on the icon. Get some of this great apparel from theroguegrant.com or the Uncensored Report or theviniscoop.com. We have hats, shirts, coffee mugs. They say educate, inspire, and change. Or for my Scoop fans, it'll say the Venice Scoop, Sarasota Scoop, etc. Help me with this operation so I can continue to get a fresh perspective on the news out to the masses. Thanks a lot and have a great day. Just go to my website and click on the icon. 800 Pet Meds. Yes, get your pet essentials, your medicines, your collars, everything you need online. And guess what? You'll be supporting the operations of this great station, the Uncensored Report. So go to my website, click on the icon for 1-800-PET-MEDS, and help us continue the information war that's going on out there. Okay, folks, I'm back. Let me get rid of that echo, and boom, there we go. All right. Hopefully the sound quality is a lot better. From what I'm hearing in my earpiece, it sounds a lot better. Before I came on, I was trying to go live, and all I could hear is chopping. Like, I couldn't play me and a video at the same time. It was just eating up way too much bandwidth, and I have the fastest internet there is out there available to locations. Strangest thing. So now we're talking about U.S. Army and reports that they're urging for preparation for occupancy of mega cities. And could this be, could standing armies be coming to a city near you? Over reasons such as a respiratory virus, Ebola, financial strife, political uprisings. Yes, the American Army, U.S. Army, warns that American troops need to be prepared to enter places like New York City or other global megacities in order to prevent civil unrest, political uprising, protect key infrastructures, natural resources, and national interests. So how do you feel about that? They're cautioning that the power of the national government to deal with problems caused by an increasing urbanization and the growth of the megacities, Agenda 21. They're concerned. It's inevitable that at some point the United States Army will be asked to operate in a megacity, a standing army. And we should be concerned. Giving increased concerns about martial law. We just recently saw where Obama did another executive order saying if anybody's showing the slightest, this is what's strange. His executive order, and this was about a month ago, if anybody's showing respiratory issues or any kind of issues, and he went into some more detail, the United States has the right to take that U.S. citizen, quarantine, and basically lock them away. Then next thing you know, you got this respiratory virus. And I forgot all about that. Coincidental? Coincidental? And it's in line with the immigration, too. But the Army's reasons for giving the U.S. troops may be sent into major cities is to deal with social dislocation, unrest, income disparity, natural disasters, financial issue, illicit networks, all of that stuff. And they're saying it may require boots on the ground, and we have within our legal rights to do so. The document also spells out how many of the megacities represent conduits for access to critical natural resources like petroleum. Strategic key terrain in any future crisis require U.S. military intervention, they're saying. In dealing with the unrest and the upheaval in these megacities, the document notes controlling the urban population physically. Virtual isolation. And they're concerned about the infrastructure with the World Wide Web, cell phones, and how that may come into play. And that the Army may not be prepared for operations with those type of unique operational environments. And so that's a concern. They're unprepared. What should we do? The United States is wondering out loud, what should we do to have them prepared? And this is all on the record, folks. This is stuff that's clearly out there and it's documented. It's not me just making it up. They sent out recently an Army training manuals and put it in there about concerns with full-scale riots and how to handle them. A lethal response. You got ISIS coming across the border in Mexico, or the concern, the threat. Will this give the United States logic, reasoning to put a standing army on the ground? You should be concerned, folks. This is what keeps me up at night. All right, now we're going to jump. We're making a rare transition. We're going from that over to financials. And this week there was a record 92 million Americans 16 and under or older that did not participate in the labor force. The participation rate matched a 36-year low, they're saying, at a 62.8%. Basically, what came out is some horrible labor numbers. They got a bunch of financial stuff on this site, CNS. Just a bunch of bad numbers. And my question is how will amnesty impact that? How will wanting $15 an hour impact that? So let's take the $15 an hour, because we had the protests the other day. They were out marching. I personally think it was mostly union folk, but they're out there. And the question is, will it hurt those that say it will help? And you have this the city of Sea-Track, and they've raised their rates, their minimum wage, up to $15. And so they started, this is almost a test case, and they wanted to see the impact that it would have on the citizenry, on the government, on the different institutions out there. So they started this on January 1st, for just some businesses. And within weeks of the experiment, the impact of this Proposition 1 had become very evident to the businesses out there. The new laws impacts only about 1,600 employees in this town of 27,000 people. But major changes and shift in the economy were already taking place. Some of the examples are that the customers using the Master Park Airport valet parking will note that they had an extra 50 cents tied into their bill. In December, the 250-room Clarion Hotel closed its full-service restaurant, laying off 15 people that couldn't afford them. Wally Park, an airport parking service, employs about 80 people at 3 different locations. It's being flooded with applications outside the city looking to take advantage of the new law. But the present employees face the threat of having their jobs taken away because they can't handle that $15 wage increase. So, bottom line is that they're seeing that this law has an impact on on terminations, less jobs, less employment. They're saying they asked this one lady, and they came up and basically asked this woman, one a waitress, the other one's cleaning the hallways, are you happy with the $15 wage? And she said, yeah, when it was coming out, it sounded great. I was all for it. She goes, that was until I found out that I was losing my 401k. I was losing my health insurance, my paid holidays, my vacation, which will happen, folks. So essentially what's happened is she had all that. She had, your 2-week vacation, which, you got to take 40 hours times $15 an hour, 2 weeks. That's a lot of money. Health insurance has gone through the roof. 401ks, paid vacation, paid holiday, all gone. So they're going to get their money back one way. It's either raise our rates, make the hamburger now $5 instead of $2 at McDonald's, or take away all these other benefits that you have. There's your 15. And you know what? These employers will probably save money. Because of all those benefits they're taking away, they'll either break even, have a slightly more loss, or make money. This one girl was talking about the hotel. It used to feed them free food. Not anymore. No more overtime. No more extra hours. So bottom line is raising it $15 will hurt consumers with increased pricing. It'll hurt workers with less employment, less benefits. Are we prepared for that? Many of these fast food chains are saying, hey, look, you're going to see about a 38% increase in our pricing. Or they'll be closing. Or some of them, they have this one firm that this story alluded to that's out there looking at robots to make the hamburgers and replace the workforce because they're demanding this higher pay, which can't be sustained, folks. Now, the other ones are out there saying, amnesty. Let's bring in all these illegals. Have you thought about, I've discussed how it's impacting us with entitlement programs, welfare, medical, Medicaid, how they're getting state rates for college, how they're impacting our elementary schools at $13,000 per student. But have you thought about, and this is for the people taken to the streets that are asking for that $15, that fast food workers are unintentionally making themselves economically obsolete. They're essentially guaranteeing their own employment, wanting so much money. And what about the illegals? Very few of these protesters out there realize that they are being fired when the day arrives, when they get that increase. Because these entry-level fast food workers, after all, tend to have relatively little knowledge of how business works and how $15 will impact them. Fast food workers have a tough life. Getting by on $10 an hour is not easy. Especially with the rapid debasement of the U.S. currency out there by our Federal Reserve. Trying to get an education on $10 an hour is hard enough. It's hard enough to eat. So it's no wonder that these fast food workers want higher wages. I get that. But there's so little profit margin, it's going to be hard to do that. So what's going to happen? Amnesty. Will that wipe out the low-end jobs for most Americans? If Obama is on the verge of legalizing this stuff, he says he's going to do it after the elections. Millions of illegals will be able to work then. Again, after the elections. This creates 5 million new legal workers who will not demand $15 an hour. They'll take $8 an hour and work the fast food. And they'll get it. This is a job killer. So think about it, folks. Your president, the guy that's supposedly giving you so much, is actually taking away through the back door. He's not mentioning the fact that all these illegals, 5 million, will come in and work for far less than the $15 you're demanding. It's a massive wave of worker displacement. Increasing the minimum wage and allowing illegals in is massive worker displacement. And how about to accelerate the fast food industry transition? They're looking at robots. Robots don't belong to unions. They don't complain. They don't want overtime. They never smoke weed. They don't spit in food. They don't insult employers. They don't have sexual harassment issues. The robot's a perfect worker. So keep pushing. Push for your $15 an hour. You're just pushing them to accelerate towards amnesty, for illegals to take your jobs, robots. Instead of doing all this, instead of sitting there demanding more entitlements, more money for doing menial jobs, how about going out there and trying to pursue a higher education? Improve your job skills. With that, your contributions, you'll rise. Your capabilities, you'll rise. And you'll get more money. So that's just food for thought, folks. And you really should consider it. I'll be right back after this message. Report.com and click on shop. Go down to longevity, click on it, and you'll be helping out the operations of the station so that we can continue to bring you a fresh perspective on alternative news. Longevity, check it out today. Check out My Patriot Supply. They got the straw there. That straw is great. I tell you what, folks, you can go out and basically, if we're in a critical situation and there's a massive hurricane, there's no water, guess what? You use these straws, the life straw, out there in the pond, and it cleans out all the water and gets you filtered water. How can you beat it? Check it out. Check the product and much more, and help support the operations at theuncensoredreport.com. Did you know that the Bead Room, Macy's, and Sam's Club are now part of my organization where we are doing a revenue sharing program? So go to my webpage, theuncensoredreport.com. Click on any of those 3 links and take advantage of some of the free shipping or discounts that you may get. In return, you're supporting the operation and allowing me to continue to get the message out, both locally, nationally, and internationally. Thanks for supporting the program. Did you know that the bead... All right, sorry, I got distracted there and lost focus, but I'm back. Okay. We're going to talk now about, the militarization of the police, the issue that many police are having reporting on other police. And this new product is something that I just posted today, and it's a compliance weapon. And what this compliance weapon does is, and you can see it on my Educate Inspire page, it blinds people. It's what the firm is claiming is it's a non-lethal equipment for law enforcement. It's a compliance weapon, and it temporarily blinds you for up to 15 minutes. It's put out from Shell Defense Systems, and it's currently in development, and it's a retinal obfuscation gun, they're calling it. But basically, it comes in, it obstructs your vision, and you can't see for 15 minutes. They're saying there's no issue with it. It will not cause any eye issues. I beg to differ. I really do. But, in other words, what these people are saying is, despite the intense scrutiny and concerns after Ferguson, they're still going out there and going to great lengths to militarize these cops and give them tools that are not necessarily needed. This company claims it won't have lasting damage on their target, but I don't know if I'm buying that. They say the same thing about tasers. Yet we've had over 500 people killed since 2001 with tasers, folks. And nobody knows how this retinal gun works. Just the whole notion that it's pain compliance, a technique increasingly seen by police departments, gives me reservations. So, ACLs, you worried about it. People are concerned about it. You should be concerned about it. Go to my Educate Inspire Change page, and you'll see more about it. Let's hop over to that whole militarization. You have charities and Congressional Black Caucus out there, and they're now wanting to nationalize the police. You got prominent celebrities, leaders in the Black Caucus, and they're endorsing this major nationalization of police. And they sent a letter to the president calling for a creation of the federal police czar. Yes, another czar. Is this needed? They want them to be housed in the Department of Justice. Oh, just who we can trust. And specifically tasked with promoting professionalization of the law enforcement, monitoring egregious crimes, and adjudicating suspicious action. Shouldn't they already have someone that's doing this? But I don't know if I want the Justice Department doing that, folks. I feel more comfortable having a third party that's not affiliated with the Justice Department or with any police. I see this all the time. Unfairly, police are out there. They're cracking down. We're seeing it all the time on videos. Blacks, are they more proportionate to getting in issues? Probably, based upon the demographics and where they're patrolling. But ironically, the letter makes the valid point that the militarization of police departments across the country is creating conditions that will further erode the trust that residents have with the police to serve them. You got the proliferation of machine guns, silencers, armed vehicles, the whole militarization thing. The source of the militarization, though, it's not racism. It's federal intervention. It's not just because it's happening in black communities, it's not racist. But we don't need to federalize it. I don't know if I want someone like Holder being over this group and deciding if they're doing right or wrong. So, think about it, folks. That's something that, for some reason, the Black Caucus and celebrities are pushing. Now, I put out something yesterday about why aren't many of the police coming forward. With the militarization of police, it's already taken place. It's on a large scale. And we're seeing domestic military pretending to be police, basically. We need to only look further than Ferguson. The troops there, they landed there to quell political dissent. They were subject to martial law there. Firing tear gas, firing bullets, rubber bullets at people. I'm seeing some of the pictures on this site that I'm on right now. I don't even know the name of the site. The Free Thought Project. And they're showing people that look like Iraqi military personnel soldiers going after these street individuals that committed no crime. These are not images that are indicative of the land of the free. They are the scenes from war-torn countries. But they're happening here on our streets. But people still remain oblivious to the standing army that occupies the United States against our Constitution. It's a loophole. It's a way for them to put a standing army out there to quell dissent without actually having a standing army. They talked about this Brevard County police agency. They spent $18 million, or they have $18 million in Apache helicopters, 8 of them. What does a police force need 8 Apache helicopters for? 8 of these could literally destroy a city in just a few hours, folks. And the other thing, too, is this whole 1033 program says they got to use this equipment right away, but these people haven't used this equipment yet, and it's been sitting there for years. Sort of like my local Sarasota County Police Department. They have grenade launchers. They've never used them. Been there for years. Many of these police departments are losing their 1033 access because they're not correctly inventorying the equipment. Corruption and theft are now the new norm in this police state. Even retired police chiefs are concerned, folks. They need to end the drug war, end the bigotry. Honor the Constitution. I mean, that sounds neat, doesn't it? Honor the Constitution. Have officers speak out against their own, but they won't because they're facing a horde backlash from their peers. You have this guy, Detective Crystal. He became a target of intimidation after he stood up and talked about misconduct in the cases with his peers. And on a regular basis, police officers who know the system, they want to uphold it. They want to fight the corruption, but it's nearly impossible. Because then they become a target of that angst by not just that one officer, but by the whole department. And most of this has all been brought on under the guise of the war on crime, the war on drugs. And how about the hidden victims? How about on the disabled? 15% of all 911 calls involve a person who has a physical or mental disability. And all too frequently, these people are the subject of police brutality. You got the recent case in Ferguson, which painfully illustrated it. The deadly effects of police response. The threat is all too real. They go in there. They get a mentally challenged individual. He doesn't know what they're there for. and they take him down. They want him to lay down on the ground. He doesn't understand it. But yet they react violently towards this guy because he is not adhering to the commands by the police. So they're victimized. Someone with cerebral palsy forcibly arrested because the officer thought they might be drunk. A deaf man tasered because he wouldn't sit down. The list goes on and on. This stuff actually happens, folks. So, they receive training, but they need that special needs training. They need to be more empathetic of the people they're approaching. Not everybody's a thug. Not everyone's a criminal. I remember I was stopped one time on 75 coming home from Disney. Had my 2 little daughters in the back, my wife in the front, driving our nice family vehicle. Pulled over and they treated me like I was some thug. I'm like, are you kidding me? This stuff happens on a regular basis. Rather than just simply issuing commands to an individual crisis, police should go through basic training. So they're not so quick to game or tackle or give commands. How about just talking to people in a non-threatening manner? In a calm and soft voice, asking them, do you realize you're speeding, man? Not, hey, punk, you're speeding, what are you doing? Come on, folks. They need to be able to handle these situations in a lot better manner. What say you? Let's see where we're at. All right, we got a couple more minutes. I think let me go to a quick commercial and we're going to cover one more issue. Hey, everybody. Have you thought about fluoride, how it's dumbing us down? Why don't you give Fluoride Shield a try? Or how about Survival Shield to help you get the iodine that's been taken out of our salts? Give both of these products a try. Just go to theroguerat.com or theuncensoredreport.com. Click on my shop area and click on the InfoWars icon. It'll give credit to the operation and help us continue to get the message. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about the whole immigration thing and how the president is injecting politics into everything. He cannot believe that we're that naive that we don't get it. We don't get that he's not making this executive. First of all, he shouldn't be making this executive order. He should be going through Congress. If they're not putting it forth, guess what? It's because the American people may not want it. You got the Congress is there to put through what the people want. He's saying they're not doing their job. Possibly they're not doing their job. Or perhaps they're trying to put through legislation that the people want. Not everybody's for this illegal immigration and making them all legal, Mr. President. I heard a great idea the other day. The guy said, hey, why don't we do something that will get the Republicans on board, and that's start to enforce our borders. Start to ensure that people cannot come across those borders. Let's start there. And then talk about legalizing them. And that's the biggest issue that Republicans have. That's one of the biggest concerns I have. That's one of the biggest concerns I think most citizens have, is that border will not be sealed. If you pass through this legislation, they're going to continue to flow across until you put a stop to it. Seal that border. Send the people back. Take action. Then look at possible means of legalizing them. And I'm still not on board with that. It's a job killer. Look out after our own people before these illegals. Don't use these little kids that you're bringing across the border to try to get empathy from me to take action, Obama. We're tired of the political games. And that's where I stand on the issue. Folks, that's the show. I'm going to listen to this recording afterwards, and I'm going to put it out there. I think what we'll do, though, is change the show time to 10 o'clock, and we're just going to do it this way because I don't want to put out a low-quality production. And that also enables me to catch some other stuff and do other things and work a lot more flexibility. So hope you are good with the good new format. I will see you tomorrow, and it will probably be at 10 o'clock. Everybody have a great day. This is Frankie. Talk to you later.